Donald Trump is already alleging that there is voter fraud, of course, with no evidence. Now, let's go to his Truth Social post where he alleges that there's a lot of talk about massive cheating in Philadelphia, law enforcement coming. Okay, so it's unclear exactly what he's referring to, but we suspect that it has to do with a glitch when it comes to some of the voting machines in Cambria County. But that has actually been dealt with in a way that I think is excellent, because rather than relying on the voting machines, they're going to rely on hand counting the votes. So there was a software malfunction in the morning that caused some long lines at a few of the voting places. And so officials said that the scanners were actually unable to read the code around the ballots, and that the votes would need to be counted by hand instead. And as a result, a judge stepped in and extended voting by 2 hours until 10 p.m. local time. Now, according to reporting from the Washington Post, counting will take place Tuesday evening, meaning tonight, at the county courthouse in the presence of observers from both political parties, and that's according to Ron Robertson, who's the director of community development for Cambria County. And I just want to be clear that while Donald Trump is claiming that there's like voter fraud taking place in Philadelphia, Cambria County is obviously not where Philadelphia is located, but nonetheless, there's no evidence that there's anything wrong happening in Philadelphia. Besides which, I would be shocked if Philly went for Trump, but I'm curious what you think, Cenk.
Yeah, look, so first of all, when you announce to the world, we just saw this on mainstream media and it was reported by a Democratic official that this thing went wrong. Well, by definition, it's not cheating. If you're doing cheating, you Democratic officials don't turn you in. Democratic officials do the cheating under your theory, right? And you mainstream media, they certainly think is democratically controlled. If that's the case, then why would they report it? Why do we all know about it? No, every instance of so-called cheating or fraud, etc., is because we caught them. And some of them were about, as we reported earlier, not today, but registering, not actually the votes themselves. All these are tiny little things that are easily explained. Look, guys, if there's actual giant problems, you think, like, Young Turks, you think we're like, oh yeah, Democrats are cheating, great. No, we'd call them out instantly and we'd be furious about it. And in fact, we call them out on the primaries left and right 100 times over. That's another story that's coming up later in the show about it. So this is all nonsense. And in fact, CBS is reporting, Anna, they reported it earlier today, that Donald Trump is preparing to declare a victory before anyone knows who won. Which is, of course, he's always going to lie. Even his own supporters knows he's a pathological liar. They all know he's gonna declare a victory whether he won or lost or got landslided. That's obvious. The scary part is apparently a lot of Republicans in the House are saying they won't certify the election if Trump lost. Of course, if Trump wins, they'll certify the election right away. Well, that's how you know they're the cheaters. So it's not close, it's not close. If you're talking about controlling mainstream media, yeah, that's more Democrats in different ways. If you're talking about how terrible their primaries are, yeah, that's the Democrats, right? But you're talking about general election, all these nonsense claims of voter fraud and cheating when it is at most a microscopic part of the vote.
Yeah, so I want to be clear, absolutely no evidence of cheating, no evidence of voter fraud. But I will say, I'm happy that the judge stepped in and extended the amount of time that people in the county can cast their ballots. That means that it's going to take a little longer for us to know the results, of course. But there is, of course, the downside of individuals who are waiting in that long line but had to leave because they have to go to work. So hopefully those individuals go back to the polling place and cast their ballots. They will have the ability to do that because the time has been extended by an additional 2 hours. Go ahead,
So
Cenk.
two quick things about that. So look, I'm always in favor of extending because I want to let as many people vote as possible. And that doesn't matter if it's a Democratic district or a Republican district. And Republicans usually do this trick where they send in, if they control the state, they send in much fewer voting machines to Democratic areas like colleges, etc. So they make the Democrats wait on gigantic lines as a way of doing voter suppression. That's almost ubiquitous in all of these elections. I want everybody to vote. Now, of course, the ironic thing is then the Republicans will turn around and go, oh, it's taking too long, stop the steal. Just declare Trump the winner, just declare Trump the winner. No, that's not how it works. You have to actually see who voted. So I'm on the side of let them all vote as much as humanly possible within the rules.
The other thing I wanted to just quickly mention is the pettiness of the Trump campaign revoking media credentials for journalists who have been critical of Trump. That appears to have happened in regard to the watch party that's taking place at Trump's West Palm Beach, resort or residence. And so this report is incredible. It's from CNN. They report that journalists from Politico, Axios, Puck, Voice of America, and Mother Jones were among those denied credentials. Some, like Politico, had actually been previously granted access to the Tuesday night event, only to have the decision reversed. Politico's team of reporters and a photographer were initially approved to attend the event, but on Tuesday morning were surprised to find that they had been denied credentials. A person familiar with the matter told CNN. The person suggested the decision was made in response to an article in Politico magazine, which reported that a Trump campaign field director was fired for being a white nationalist. So look, it doesn't surprise me. This is the kind of thing that Trump himself has threatened journalists with. And so, of course, he would the campaign at least would revoke press credentials for anyone who's been critical of him in their reporting. And this is a watch party. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to not have different voices and a diversity of media outlets there to report on it. But this is what Trump wants. This is what the Trump campaign wants, and it doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah. So, Mr. Freedom of the Press, freedom of speech. He doesn't talk much about the press, but he's always like, freedom of speech. Oh, the Democrats want to cancel you. He's like, here's the list of reporters I'm canceling. Don't let him in the building because I hate freedom of speech. Thank you for at least accidentally acknowledging that. What I want to mention about the last thing that we were talking about is there was 5 bomb threats called in Georgia. So now I hesitate to tell you who authorities think called it in. They think that it's people that are connected to Russian propaganda. And so because the right wing will go, no, you said the magic word Russia, I just immediately closed my mind. But it doesn't really matter who called it in. They're calling it in Democratic areas so that they could prevent more Democrats from voting. Now, the media being mean to you is not election interference. Calling in bomb threats so that people can't vote is election interference. So that's just terrible and disgusting. I hope none of that ever happens in these areas. Unfortunately, it has already to some degree. So Trisha Briggs, a member on YouTube, hit the join button below, be part of the show. It makes my favorite point. God, Trump is such a whiner. Everything is whine, whine, whine. I can't understand for the life of me how MAGA thinks that's a strong guy and that he's their alpha leader. That crying guy in the corner is your alpha leader? Please. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.